Hi friends, how are you all? I hope you all are doing fine. And today I'm going to start with Revelation 18 chapter. So let's start reading Revelation 18. Revelation 18 verse 1 to 8. After these things I saw another angel coming down from heaven, having great authority, and the earth was illuminated with his glory. And he cried mightily with a loud voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and has become a dwelling place of demons, a prison for every foul spirit, and a cage for every unclean and hated bird. For all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. The kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth have become rich through the abundance of her luxury. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, lest you share in her sins, and lest you receive of her plagues. For her sins have reached to heaven, and God has remembered her iniquities. Render to her as she rendered to you, and repay her double according to her works. In the cup which she has mixed double for her. In the measure that she glorified herself and lived luxuriously, in the same measure give her torment and sorrow. For she says in her heart, I sit as queen, and am no widow, and will not see sorrow. Therefore her plagues will come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she will be utterly burnt with fire, for strong is the Lord who judges her. So now we see in Revelation 18 chapter, it is about the fall of Babylon the Great. And we all know that the Babylon is a very sinful city. And what is written in Revelation 18, that is saying, John saw another angel coming down from heaven, having great authority, and earth was illuminated with his glory. Means it was shining with full of glory. And the angel cried out with a loud voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and has become a place of demons, a prison for every foul spirit, and a cage for every unclean and hated bird. So, we all know how sinful the city is of the Babylon, and it has become a place of demons. Foul spirit means a smelling spirit, bad smell. So it has become like that. And the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of a fornication. Means it has been indulged in her sins. And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. Like the higher authorities of the whole earth has done fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth have become rich because of her luxury. And now why it became like that? Because the city was full of foul smell, and lot of sins were there, dreadful sins in the Babylon city. And John heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out her from my people, lest you share in her sins, and lest you receive of her plagues. So the voice was telling to come out of the Babylon city, so not partake in any of her plagues. Plagues means already it is a stinking place, and who would want to live in such a place? So that's why the voice was telling to come out of her sins and not get any of her plagues. For her sins have reached to heaven, and God has remembered her iniquities. The sins were so great that God was reached to heaven too, and God has seen all the sins of the Babylon, the city, and has remembered of their iniquities. So render to her as just as she rendered to you, and repay her according to her works. In the cup she has mixed double for her. Because it was too sinful, the voice was telling to mix double the portion and give back to her. And in the measure she glorified herself and lived luxury, in the same measure of her sorrow, torment and sorrow, she says in her heart, I sit as queen and I am no widow and will not see sorrow. So the city is so great that they are proud of their sins. They have no ashamed feeling also of what they are doing, and they are feel great that like we are not like widows, and we will not see sorrow also, because we have lot of luxury, lot of riches, so that they have lot of pride in that. So therefore her plagues will come in one day. Surely the plagues will come in one day. Then that is death, mourning and famine. And she will be utterly burnt with fire, for strong is the Lord God who judges her. So God is going to judge the city of Babylon, because it is a great and sinful city, which is having full of luxury and nothing else. Stinking city it is, with full of dreadful things, dreadful sins. So this is what God is going to judge the Babylon the Great. From 9 to 14, the kings of the earth who committed fornication and lived luxuriously with her will weep and lament for her when they see the smoke of her burning, standing at a distance for fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, the great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour your judgment has come. And the merchants of the earth will weep and mourn over her, for no one buys their merchandise anymore. Merchandise of gold and silver, precious stones and pearls, fine linen and purple, silk and scarlet, every kind of citron wood, every kind of object of ivory, every kind of object of most precious wood, bronze, iron and marble, and cinnamon and incense, fragrant oil and frankincense, wine and oil, fine flour and wheat, cattle and sheep, horses and chariots, and bodies and souls of men. The fruit of your soul longed for has gone from you, and all these the things that which are rich and splendid have gone from you, and you shall find them no more at all. So now what happened to the Babylon city? It was burnt with fire. So it was burnt with fire because God judged the city of Babylon. And the kings of the earth who seen all this, who have committed fornication with the city of Babylon and lived luxuriously, they will all lament, means cry and weep like anything, because they see the smoke of her burning. And standing at a distance of her torment, saying, Alas, the great city Babylon, the mighty city, in 1 hour your judgment has come. So they are crying because they were very rich of Babylon city, and because it has been destroyed by God, they started crying for the great city, because it was full of riches. And even the merchants even also, they mourn over her, because they can't buy their merchandise anymore. Merchandise of what? Gold and silver, precious stones, silk, scarlet, citron wood, and precious wood, bronze, iron, marbles, all these were coming from Babylon city, and because they can't purchase all that, they were lamenting so much. And lamenting, saying that the fruit of your soul has gone from you, and all the things which are rich and splendid has gone from you, and you shall find them no more at all. So now everything has gone, they are crying over it. And let's read from verse 15. From 15 to 24, the merchants of these things who became rich by her will stand at a distance for fear of a torment, weeping and wailing, and saying, Alas, alas, the great city that was clothed in fine linen, purple and scarlet, and adorned with gold and precious stones and pearls. For in 1 hour such great riches came to nothing. Every shipmaster, all who travelled by ship, sailors, and as many as trade on the sea, stood at a distance and cried out when they saw the smoke of a burning, saying, What is like this great city? They threw dust on their heads and cried out, weeping and wailing, and saying, Alas, alas, that great city in which all who had ships on the sea became rich by her wealth. For in 1 hour she is made desolate. Rejoice over her, O heaven, and you holy apostles and prophets, for God has avenged you on her. Then a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and threw it into the sea, saying, Thus with violence the great city Babylon shall be thrown down and shall not be found any more. The sound of harpists, musicians, flutists, and trumpeters shall not be heard in you any more, nor no craftsman of any craft shall be found in you any more, and the sound of millstone shall not be heard in you any more. The light of a lamp shall not shine in you any more, and the voice of bridegroom and bride shall not be heard in you any more. For your merchants were the great men of the earth, for by your sorcery all the nations were deceived. And in her was found the blood of prophets and saints, and of all who were slain on the earth. Now we see even the merchants also standing afar and seeing her burning. This torment, for the fear of her torment, they cry so much and say that, Alas, the great city that was in fine linen, purple and scarlet, adorned with gold and precious stones and pearls. For in 1 hour such great riches came to nothing. Really, it has come to nothing because it was burned by God. And in 1 hour such great riches came to nothing, and every shipmaster, all who travelled by ship, sailors, as many as trade on the sea, stood at a distance and cried out when they saw the smoke of a burning, saying, What is like this great city? So even the ship sailors also were weeping and wailing over her. And they threw dust on their heads and cried out, weeping and wailing, saying, Alas, the great city, in which all who had ships on the sea became rich by her wealth. For in 1 hour she is made desolate. Desolate means she is totally alone. There's no one there. It's so deserted. So that's how the city has become. And rejoice over her, O heaven, and you holy apostles and prophets, for God has avenged you on her. Why is this verse given? Because Babylon has tortured the holy apostles and prophets, because who are of God. So that's why God is saying, rejoice, because God has avenged. Avenge means it's taking revenge. because God only will take revenge for us. So God has avenged you on her. This is what God has done for his people. Then what happened next is a mighty angel took a stone like a great millstone. Millstone is very big stone, and threw it in the sea. And that with violence the great city Babylon shall be thrown down and shall not be found anymore. So that means this won't be found anywhere because it's been destroyed. And the sound of harpists, musicians, flutists, trumpeters shall not be heard also, because it was such a great and luxurious city. It was filled with all these people, and no craftsman of any craft. They wonderfully crafted the Babylon city. It was beautiful palace it was, and that also will not be found anymore. Not the sound of millstone also. And the light of a lamp will not be shining also in Babylon anymore. And the voice of bridegroom and bride shall not be heard also. For the merchants were the great men of the earth, for by your sorcery all the nations were deceived. Sorcery is one sort of occult one. It's an evil occult. They contact with the spirits of the dead and evil. So this is what was filled in Babylon the Great. And in her the blood of prophets and saints and all of who were slain on the earth. This is what has happened. That's why God has judged the city, because they killed the prophets and God's saints and people of the earth. That's why God has judged the city of Babylon and avenged the city of the Babylon the Great. So that's all for today, Revelation 18. And tomorrow I will continue with Revelation 19. Please tune in to my channel. Thank you for listening to my message. Amen.